Hi, I'm Dr. Jesse Ross, and I'm here with Kay again after a wonderful testimony. And when she got back on the table, I just realized she just had this CAT scan that I was so anxious to find out what the results were. So to begin with, tell me what you've been dealing with your lungs, and when did it start? What were the treatments? How did it feel? How did it affect your life?
About 10 years ago, actually, I had a really bad spell of just all of a sudden I got short of breath. I was playing golf, and I couldn't even make it back to. I couldn't make it around. We were almost finished. We were on the 16th hole, and I could not make it to the clubhouse. I could not breathe, and I thought a lung had collapsed, but. I got there, and a friend of mine went with me home, and I called my doctor, went in, and he said he wanted to get an x-ray. Of course, he got the x-ray, and then he got a CT, and then he said he was going to do a biopsy and send the sample to Colorado to the Jewish hospital, research hospital, mostly lung work out there. And so I thought, what in the world is going on? And he said that I had a condition that was similar. Well, it's the same germ that causes TB, the same germ that causes leprosy, the same germ that covers a whole plethora of other illnesses. But it's called, can you cut?
No,
I can't.
You know what? You don't need to.
I can't think of the. I can't think of the name of the.
You know what? We'll put it at the bottom. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, it starts with an S. Oh crap.
It's a staff.
No. Shoot. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I had. So he immediately. This was the lung specialist, and he called a doctor in. Geez, y'all, I can't think of anything. I hope you're good at editing. The infectious disease doctor. And I went over there, and he did some more lab work, and he actually did another biopsy. And they put me on a medicine, I can't remember the name of it, but it did absolutely nothing for it. I went back in, and the x-rays were worse.
Was it medicine that had side effects you were concerned about, or was that not even a concern to you at that point?
Well, it was a concern because I do have a heart arrhythmia problem, and a lot of the medicines that would have been used for this type of illness that I had would also affect heart rhythm. And so he didn't want to put me on any of those. But yeah, I just, he finally found one that would not have any heart issues, and put me on that for 8 weeks. But the bad thing was it was very expensive. My part was very expensive, and then the insurance came in and paid their part. And so I said, I can't do this for 8 weeks. And
what was the ballpark? Like, you don't have to give your what you paid out, but I mean, was it thousands or
$2,000 a month?
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was on it
and
for
insurance covered part
2
of
months. Yes, they paid the bigger portion. That was just my portion.
Right.
But and it was a new drug, but it's considerably less now.
Yeah.
But so I was on that, and that
Perhaps
I did
you'll have these
improve.
disease processes at a more convenient time in history in the future. Okay.
I'll try. So yeah, and that the lung issues were the main thing when I came here.
But is that why you came here?
No, I came here because my daughter was insisting that I come here.
Yeah. Why was she insisting you came here?
Because I was also having some back trouble at the time, and she said, "Mom, if you just go to this chiropractor that I know, that I've been going to," she said, "I'll bet he can help you." She said, "Just go and try." So that's what I did. And lo and behold, you helped.
So let me jump in here just a little bit, okay? Do you remember on your first visit with me where I adjusted your neck and then I had you lift your legs and I didn't touch your back or your low back and your legs lifted bigger, right?
Right, yeah, I remember that.
Or higher. And your neck that I just adjusted would have improved if your legs are evidence of that nerve tract being healthier, okay? So now, whenever you stand up, remember how I said stand up and take a deep breath. What did you witness as soon as you got your first adjustment when you took a deep breath?
That I could actually take a deep breath.
Okay, so here's the significance, right? Your lung is not this airy, light thing that floats like a balloon. Your lung is like a big old ham hock. It's heavy, okay? And like when we're in anatomy class, we were all shocked. As a matter of fact, I think the instructor enjoyed us lifting up this heavy organ, right? Because everyone thinks it's light. So this heavy organ that you have in your chest, it was being compressed. It could never really fully inflate because your curvatures that demanded you had supportive tissue that most people will call arthritis, but is actually the next tier of density when your tissues are under stress. So your lungs were not able to fully evacuate and fully inflate. So if it affects the gases that come in, it affects your pH. Well, if your pH is affected, it would be more hospitable to bugs that can live in more anaerobic conditions. So if you had an inefficiency of evacuating through your veins and your lymphatic, which is your getting rid of debris, and your immune system, and you were never fully inflating, then very slowly you were creating an environment no different than someone who's 80 or 90. 60% of them will, if they break a bone, will die of something that's within them, like pneumonia. Why? pH, they're not moving, they're metabolizing, so they'll fall subservient to something that lived with them all their lives, right? So instead of thinking this horrible thing happened where TB got you, no, you were not able to fully express your vitality, which means your lung could not do full lungness. And that means fully expressing and inhaling, keeping your whole body's pH up. So you created a petri dish that was very efficient for another life form, not you. And then the stuff they would have to give you in this life-threatening situation, was this a life threat?
Eventually it could have been, and nothing.
Okay, if it was
immediate.
just it itself, it could have been a life threat. But what if you got pneumonia? What if you broke a leg? What if you were in a car accident? What if you got COVID? What do you think that would have done? Would that have been a life threat?
Probably.
Okay, so here's my point. That we don't do these things to take care of abscesses of stuff in your lungs. We simply allowed your lungs to express their full lungness, and therefore it should be able to clean itself. It should not be a petri dish that other lower life forms could take advantage of you. When all of us are breathing in these bugs, they got a hold of you because you're compromised, not because you're sick. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So now as we added the PEMF, pulse electromagnetic therapy, that would not allow a bug to thrive in that electromagnetic charge, as we pumped every cell of your body in, and especially in your lungs and your lymphatics that are dependent on motion for them to not only evacuate through one-way valve systems, but so it can manufacture and move antibodies to destroy these things that get in our lungs. So you're simply returning back to normal, where on your CAT scan, what was your results? Now, first off, tell me the process. You first got a checkup with your CAT scan, and you were supposed to wait for results. So let's move on from there. Okay, so you got your CAT scan. I asked you about it today. What was your story?
My story was that I had to chase them down to get a report. They didn't call to give me the report. So I was assuming by that things were better, but you know, I really wanted to know for sure because my lungs were a mess. I had the last CAT scan right before I moved, and it was probably about 18 to 20 months ago. And it was the same as it had been for the last 10 years. It showed the disease that was in there. But you know, I've been feeling better, and I expected this one to maybe be a little bit better. But when I called them, and I finally got someone to call me back, she said that, oh, well, your CT was fine. And I felt like saying, well, I would like to have known that instead of sitting here at home worrying. But anyway, that's another story. But she said that there are no significant changes. And she said it's definitely improved since the last CT. So that was it.
Fantastic. I want to get further notes on that, but I think, you know, when you didn't get a call back right away, for anyone who's listening, usually a good sign. You're not on top priority, let's give this woman a call, okay? So we kind of had peace already. We kind of knew it was just agitating and you get the information. But I sympathize with how busy everyone is these days. And then whenever it comes to, well, yeah, they're fine. Well, that's a huge contrast from where you're at. So although they look at a report and we all expect to see normal or near normal, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, whenever you look back from your past, your cost, you know, the potentials that you were trying to avoid, right? You know, how freeing was that for you? It's like, you mean my lungs are that good, really?
Yeah, well, I immediately thought, well, gosh, maybe that treatment I've been getting over at Dr. Jesse's place has done this, because I haven't done anything else. I haven't been to a lung specialist until I went a couple of weeks ago and he had me do the CT. But
that doesn't make them any less special, though.
Oh, you're right. But yeah, and so I felt, you know, so relieved that it was.
Well,
so
let me
better.
tell you something. Like, I expect this because the way that I pick equipment is if I have to have it in my own life, then everyone has to have it. And based on the premise behind the physics means, doesn't matter whether you believe in my technology or not, and it's not my technology, it's technology I use, okay? That if it's physics, then it doesn't require belief. So I knew I had a certainty that was going to work on you, and I was as anxious because so much weighs upon what I say, right? And you had to have a lot of faith in what I was saying. I mean, think about what I have put you through with frequency and whatnot, but look at where you've wound up. And if you think about it, the number of years that you've had this and fought this, in contrast to how much time you've been with me, okay? And if you think about the true cost when you're out of pocket after insurance was pretty incredible versus your overall cost here, and what the results were in that amount of time, I have to say I'm pretty impressed because I'm kind of a technician, I'm an operator. That's why I get so enthused about the results. It's not like, hey, look everybody at Dr. Jesse. It's more a matter of, that's why I love coming to work every day. So I appreciate you allowing me to share this with people because this, you know, any of these conditions are kind of the same. Like this was just your example, but wherever somebody is compromised is where they'd be vulnerable for things in the environment to take out the weak one, right? Mm-hmm. And you're getting your integrity back to where your lungs are not your threat as they were, and especially during, you know, an era like we're facing right now, right? Yeah. So, and your great attitude, and your dedication, and your trust, and your ability to filter when you hear truth. So I appreciate your trust, but what you're doing today, if no one knew about this, it wouldn't impact anyone's life. I'd just be another doctor. So I appreciate you putting yourself out there, exposing your health, and sharing your success, and allowing us to help more people.
And the name of the disease, which I could not bring up before, is Mycobacterium abscessus.
Yeah. Pretty serious stuff. So from where you had the event, now this is where you became aware of a crisis, on the golf course, to the point where you met me, how long was that time?
About 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you were to really look at not what insurance paid, but out of your pocket, okay? Because remember, it isn't about Dr. Ross and care, it's about how miraculous the body actually is. Because I'm telling you, after you share with everyone here how much time you've been with me, the reality is most of the time I have with you is educational. The seconds that I put my hands on you, the cumulative time would be several minutes you've been with me and how many minutes you've been with me. So how long have you actually been under my care?
Since April, I think.
Okay. So from April till
9 months.
January, 9 months, okay?
Yeah.
So 9 months of care, and it was very physical, and we used a pulsed electromagnetic field, which is what you're made of, okay? Your body was able to have the energy to go into an adaptive healing that would amount in your work. And you only had to really show up, put up with a bunch of really bad dad jokes, sit on one of my chairs for a half hour, and cumulatively in all those months, 9 months, when I put my hands on you and I put a thrust in, the corrective forces accumulatively would be several minutes I've actually touched you in order to make that correction. And the result is that God's perfect operating system did exactly what it should when it gets leverage, exponential force, and your body started to perform. I did not heal you. The miracle is that you heal you. You see what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing we want to get out to people.
Yeah.
Okay, not just to come to Dr. Jesse, not just to be loyal or understand chiropractic, but understand this is a healing machine. This is the miracle. And in my mind, you prove that.
Wow. That's heavy.
That's heavy. It's big stuff. So thank you very much.